start sliding this back together carefully. And you'll see that it's tight on the tabs in here, so you kind of have to spread this out a little bit as it goes on. And it should just come right on down, and then it should snap in place unless we've got something interfering. So the back one is snapped, but the front one doesn't seem to want to go down. Okay, what I learned was I had a short underneath the board up to the wires, and what I should have done, what I normally do, is put this Kapton tape, which is non-conductive, over the motor area right in here. So as you can see now, it's working fine. No sound, of course. So we'll fix that in just a second. So we'll put the shell back on it, see if our sound's working. Meantime, I'll show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, get it where it focuses a little bit. You can see the Kapton tape right here that goes through, and I think what was happening was the power lead on the other side was shorting out. So this tape is really nice stuff. It gives it a good insulation. You can see it's really close in there between the board and the motor. And these power terminals on this side, the red lead, I do believe, was coming up and touching, which puts like too much power in there. So I'll try and throw this back together and we'll test it one more time and see if it's working. Okay, I discovered the reason this thing didn't want to fit was the speaker terminal ends there. So I think my lesson learned is to just not even use them, just go ahead and solder the wires, and if I have to cut them loose later I can. But what I did was I went ahead and used a half one of these clothespins, and I put the clip in here, then I kind of used my RCZ56, which allows me to go in here later if I have to. So it's missing the drive shaft quite well inside, and that should work okay. Then that should allow this all to go together. We'll see here and fit. Okay, so what I've done here, still trying to get this thing to close down, is I went in and worked on this forward clip and chipped it down a little bit. That's my great grandson getting wound up. And hopefully this will give me just that half a millimeter I need, because that's about all I'm looking for. It's just how tight this thing is. So we'll try it one more time here. Let's see if we can't get it to go. Make sure there's no wires sticking out anywhere. Nope. Still giving me fits up here on the front. If I get this down, the back end pops up. We're just talking about a minute fraction of an inch. I'm so close. Back to the drawing board. Okay, I cleaned a little insulation off the top of the one speaker, the center speaker inside here, and that gave me just enough to get this thing finally down. Like I said, these things can really be a pain. Well, I hate to admit defeat, but I never could get enough out to get this to stay down is maybe just a half a centimeter. I mean, just a very small amount. Half a millimeter. It's just would go down, but it wouldn't stay down. So what I did was I took this Super RS3 and I installed a little bit right on the tab. I don't think you can actually see it, but just a little bit before I put it together. Then I use this rubber band to secure it during the night to see if that would do the trick. And it seemed to work. Now I'm not too concerned about this, even though I don't like doing that, because to get this off I'll just use some of this Great Plains Pro CA debonder. It just take a toothpick or whatever and just put a drop at each point, and then it should, after about a minute, it'll release and you can go ahead and take it apart if you have to. But what I had done was I had actually removed the speaker and took the insulation off of it that seemed to be sticking up to get a little bit more space, shortened the wires a little bit, resoldered it, put it back together. So this morning we'll see if this thing is going to still function. There's no reason why it shouldn't, but let's just check it out. And see how it works. Well, it makes noise. And it's in reverse at the moment. My finger hit the button. That wasn't the decoder. You can see when you, what I like about this decoder is when you let off the throttle, just like the actual ones, it will kind of coast. So I'm pleased. Okay, I'm sure everybody knows how to put together couplers. These things come with a little coupler that is kind of like, I don't know, they're plastic, so I don't quite care for them. And as you can see, the heads are somewhat large on them. I like these scale. You can see they're not quite as big. And they're the Magnetic by Katie. So they work really well. If I just get this so you can see it. You get to use the same box that they used on the Atlas, which is good. And I really like these whiskered couplers. And even with big old fat fingers, they're typically not that difficult to install. Okay, so now with the exception of super gluing these rascals back on where they came off, kind of need to make sure I'm showing you what I'm doing. I painted these black. These are the 66s, just long enough to come down just below. So I'll put those other three on, then I'm basically done with this. Okay, so she's all back together. That should just about do everything that needs to be done. She seems to be working okay. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps some of you. If you're going to put one of these together, if you have any questions, be sure and just leave a message for me and I'll try and get back to you. Certainly not an expert on these things, but I am getting to the point where I can figure out how to get these suckers put together, and that's a challenge all on its own. So again, thanks for watching.